Hi everybody, happy Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to another episode of Kokoist Monday Masters. Our topic today is going to be back on the focus of gelips. Now we have just recently reformulated and improved this soft gel type extension system and made a couple changes to some very particular things. The thing we're going to be focusing on today though is going to be the sizing. So on top of changing the formulation of the tips themselves as well as the actual gel that we use to apply them, the sizing system has been very slightly augmented from the way that it used to be to kind of stretch the numbers out a little bit more evenly to make sure that the sizing can be a little bit more accurate, and it's going to reduce the amount of custom sizing and filing that you have to do before applying these tips. So the gelips have always come from sizes 0 to 9, kind of from thumb to pinky. They've actually gone ahead and created a double zero size for those people that have extra wide thumbs, so it can be a little bit more inclusive and accommodating in terms of size. So in the next few slides, I'm going to show you guys the gelip sizing chart, which you will always be able to find on the Kokoist website. If you just search gelip sizing chart, it'll pop right up, and it's going to show you each individual shape and length and all of the measurements from side to side at the base. So this is what the sizing chart looks like here. This is what you're going to find on the website. These are all of the lengths and shapes that we have available in the gelip system. So we've got square short, square medium, oval short, oval long, almond short, almond medium, coffin short, coffin long, and coffin extra long. So the newest additions to this chart are the square short and the coffin short. Those are brand new shapes that just came out this year. We were very excited to release them. We did find when we asked the market at large what they felt like we were missing, and we had a resounding number of people saying that they were missing shorter enhancement lengths. So this is why we chose to accommodate those two shapes. And you'll see here at the bottom of every tip, we have the measurement in millimeters from side to side at the base. And then we actually have along the side the measurement in millimeters of the actual length of this enhancement. So you'll know what you're getting into. So most of the sizing across the board, when we're talking about all the different shapes from 00 to 9, are going to be pretty consistent width-wise. There are a couple differences and a couple kind of particular ones that were slightly augmented just to adjust and accommodate for the shapes. I zoomed in here just to show you here that the first three sizes in the square short are actually a little bit wider. The 00 is 16.5 millimeters, where the square medium is 15 millimeters. There's just a couple small differences there that you may need to pay attention to when shopping these sizes. I, being a man, do have man-sized thumbs. They are on the wider side, but I do find that typically the 15 millimeter fits perfectly for me, not a problem. But if you do have a client that has very wide thumbs, you may want to consider looking at the square short. And if you need to change the shape after kind of adjusting for the width, that is absolutely an acceptable technique. So let's talk about what a really well-sized gelip tip looks like on a client. With the newly formulated gelip tips, they are designed to be a little bit thinner at the cuticle and a little bit more robust at the tip to have a little bit more stability and support. So if you did want to apply these all the way back to the cuticle, that's fine, that's acceptable. It is, however, not the way that these tips are designed to be applied. So the gelip tips are designed to be applied a little bit away from the cuticle, just like a couple millimeters away from the cuticle. Cured there, and then we would file and blend that kind of line away and overlay these with our gelip choice. Doing this ensures that we really get a nice tight seal around the cuticle area. We don't have to fight the shape of the gelip itself to get that line really nice and crisp. Maybe if you have a client that has a little bit of a varied shape at their cuticle, it's going to be much easier to fix that and kind of apply your gel right back to that potentially asymmetrical line and have it look absolutely flawless. Now, I have my nails done, so it might be a little bit tricky to show you guys, but I'm going to do my best. The idea with the gelip tip, when you place it a couple millimeters away from the cuticle area, you should have a really comfortable fit from sidewall to sidewall. It should not be going over the skin, over the sidewalls at all, and it should not be anywhere kind of in from the sidewall so that you're getting a little bit of a ledge at the free edge of the natural nail. If the sides of the gelip tip are not reaching from sidewall to sidewall, you're going to need to go up a size. If the sides of your gelip tip are past that sidewall when it's going over the skin instead of just going from the side to side on the nail, you're going to need to go down a size. If, even with these new and improved measurements that are a little bit more kind of evenly spaced out, if you have a client that is between, say, a 5 and a 6, okay, between a slightly larger one and a slightly smaller one, it is better to take that 5, the slightly larger nail, and file it in a little bit at the sidewalls to make it fit the natural nail very comfortably. And this is very easily achieved by just using any nail file that you've got on hand, probably 180 or softer, and just using that to very gently file against the sides of that nail, just to make it a little bit skinnier. Because the base of these Gelip tips, again, is much thinner than it even used to be, it's very, very easy to file them in, and you're not gonna have to work too hard at it. But what happens if maybe your client has a very pronounced barrel to their nails? So the actual structure of their natural nail, they have very deep sidewalls, right? The product that these tips are made out of, this very specifically formulated PMMA plastic, is designed to be very, very flexible, very bouncy, very bendy. So we can actually give these a little bit of a pinch to create a little bit more of a barrel to the tip itself. This is going to make it kind of bend to create that shape that's going to mimic the shape of that deep sidewall structure. And unless you are literally folding these in half, no, you are not going to get any white creases in the tip. Adversely, if your client has a very, very flat nail, there's two different things you can do here. One, if you have a very, very flat nail and you're having trouble getting this to kind of lie flat on the nail, you can either apply a little bit of a structure gel manicure to that nail before applying your tip so you have a little bit more structure underneath the tip itself. Or you could simply take a flat surface, lay your tip down on it, and give it a press to the surface. It's gonna do kind of the opposite of rolling it and pinching it. It's gonna flatten that tip out just a little more so it can a little bit more easily match the fit of the nail. With a well-sized Gelip tip, you should not really see any kind of air or any kind of space between the tip itself and the natural nail. You should be able to see that it is a nice, pretty much flush application from sidewall to sidewall where the tip connects very nicely to the nail plate. And the lightness and the bounciness of this tips means you're really never going to get any kind of pinching at the sidewalls. If your client might be concerned with that, maybe they've had other kind of soft gel extensions that have kind of pinched them at the sides after they've been applied. You're not going to get that with these. They're very, very lightweight and super flexible. The other really awesome thing that I like about Gelips, for instance, if you have a client that has a really nice kind of medium almond shape to their natural nails and they've broken one, if you go in and you're applying an almond medium enhancement to that one broken nail, and maybe it's a little bit too short, maybe the rest of her nails are a little bit longer, instead of applying it 2 millimeters away from the cuticle, you could go maybe 3 or 4 millimeters away from the cuticle so that you're getting a little bit of extra length out of the Gelip tip itself. And then because you're overlaying it anyway, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Proper sizing is paramount to a really successful Gelip tip application. If you do something that's a little bit too small, you're gonna have those notches at your sidewall where you're very likely to get cracking, lifting, peeling, chipping, issues like that. If you size a tip too large, it's going to create a lot more filing for you to get this tip to look natural, and it's very, very likely that you're gonna get gel flooding onto the skin. So take the extra couple minutes, be patient, make sure that you are doing your due diligence and making sure you have a beautiful fit across all 10 nails, and you're gonna have a beautiful set of enhancements at the end. So there you go, a little bit more of an inside look on the new Gelip sizing and kind of how you can make it work for you. And as always, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, we have our cute little comment section right down below. Feel free to drop your questions in there. We'll do our very best to get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Monday Masters. I sure hope you enjoyed it and learned something. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and we will see you right back here in another 7 days for another episode. Take care.